Hello, my name is Lakin and welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we're doing my March TBR and doing book bingo to figure out what my TBR is gonna be. Last month was the first month of me doing this book bingo thing and I really enjoyed it. I'll discuss more in depth like the books that I read and stuff like that in my February wrap up. It wasn't my biggest reading month, but it was a big one. And I think a lot of it has to do with me just wanting to mark off books off this bingo board. In last episode, last book bingo video, I put it on my Notion, and because we're not in the office where I normally film this, I can't get to my Notion. We're not going to be doing that this time, but for February I also wanted a physical thing that I could mark off because I can't really mark it off on Notion. So I created this February bingo board and it was like in person, and I used all the space themes since that was my reading journal theme for February. And I have a photo of it on my Instagram, Lakin's Story Nook, if you want to look at it without all these things on it. But what I had done is after we had gotten all the prompts, I decided I wanted to pick out specific books for each of those prompts. Just to kind of like give myself like for romance, I was like, okay, this is the romance I possibly want to read. Obviously, I don't have to read that romance, but like that way I can kind of like be like, okay, I can sort of gather my TBR together. And then the sticky note is other books that I read that weren't directly on here. Now, some of these can fit on here. Obviously, it's not the end of February, so I'm not going to put them on here. But, like one of my spots is a free spot, so any of the books can go there. I have one bingo, so I technically won once. And the thing that messed up my bingo a lot this month were these two right here, Fruit Baskets and Fly on a Wall. Because I just had no way of getting them. I thought I could get Fruit Baskets from my library, but turns out they only have the Spanish version, so can't do that. And Fly on the Wall I could not get anywhere. The only way I can read it is if I buy it. Digital version of this bingo board of how it's all filled out. Hope all that makes sense. I know it's a lot of talking. So let's go ahead and get into getting our March bingo board. From February, I made sure to keep all the book covers I had pulled. I made sure to keep them out. These four are ones that I know I'm not going to be able to get to. And what I thought, instead of like clearing it and making a whole new board each month, I can just replace the spots that I've read. Yeah, so I'm going to be keeping The Marionettes and God Save the Queen on my bingo board. And I would normally keep these, but because I have to buy these, and I'm not planning on buying them right now, these will go back into the jar. And if I pull them out, I'll just keep putting them back until I have them available to me. And with this, we have 16 spots that we are going to change on here. Wow, that is a lot of talking. I had a lot to discuss, apparently. Let's go ahead and pick out 17. I think that was the number. So let's give this a good shake. This time it was really evenly matched with book covers and prompts. But since we're not getting 20 or so pulled out, we'll see if it stays even or not. It looks like I have a lot of book covers, so not as many prompts. We'll see if it works. Okay, so the first one is book club pick again. I had read the prompt for that one, so we're basically getting that again. A book written in the 1940s. We have a fantasy book. Here's our first cover. It's Meat Market. You can't see that, but I'll put it up here anyway. The Deep and Dark Blue. Pretty sure this is a middle grade. The 1800s. So like we're getting like a classic. And obviously I can also, with these times, my intention is to read a book written in that time. So I'm not just reading new books, but also if I can't find anything that I'm like interested in, I can always find a book that's or set in that time. That will also fill up the slot. The Tea Dragon Society. The Good Son. A thriller. Always like to see that. The Last Fallen Star. A historical fiction. Ooh, A Dowry of Blood. I've heard a lot of people talk about this book. I've been wanting to read it. Bestiary. Bare Necessities. I don't know what this is about, but I literally picked it up for the name. Because my dog and my cat are both named after Jungle Book characters. My dog is named Mowgli, and my cat is named Bagheera. So that's what they're named after. They're named after the Disney version. And obviously the song Bare Necessities, yeah, it makes sense in my head. Fly Girls. And the last one is Black Girl Unlimited. I've also been hearing a lot about this book too. So that's not too bad. I thought I had a lot of covers, and I do. I only have 6 prompts, and all the others are book covers. That's not a bad reading month. If I like just read those books, like that's not bad at all. Okay, so it's been a bit, and I thought I would pop in here and show you the books that I've picked for the reading prompts, and also show you the bingo card because I made it. So this bingo card is Buffy the Vampire Slayer themed because I've been watching that show and I'm really into it right now. So that's what the bottom looks like. And yeah, I really like it. You know, can't go wrong with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So before I get into the books that I picked for the prompts, just like last time, there were 2 books that I picked out that, like actual book covers that I picked out that I don't have any access to. I would have to buy them, and I'm not going to buy them right now. Instead of leaving those on the board, I just replaced them with the 2 books that I'm currently reading in February, and I don't think I'm going to finish them by the end of February. I'm not going to force myself to, and I just put them on here. So the books I don't have access to, so I won't be reading at all, are Bestiary or Bestiary and Meat Market. So I swapped those with 1 Year of Ugly and the sci-fi prompt for next. Okay, so on to the prompts. So the first prompt that I have on here is fantasy, and I'm going to be continuing the Septimus Hemp middle grade series, and I think it's the 4th one that I'm on. It's called Quest. It's a really funny, really cool little fantasy series, and like the books are like squat little squares. So cool. And then the next prompt was pink cover, and I am going with The Ruthless Lady Guide to Wizardry. No clue what this book's about, but every so often I'll go on Libby and just like scroll through the new books that they've added to Libby and stuff like that. And this is one of those times that I just added it to like TBR on my Libby shelf. And it has a pink cover. So obviously at some point I was interested in it, and it still looks and sounds cool, so we're going with it. The next prompt is thriller, and I'm doing The Dead House, which this one, if I'm remembering correctly, this house burnt down and then nobody knows what happened, but then they find this journal of this person who was there who doesn't exist. And then like trying to figure out like how all this ties in and like all this stuff. The cover looks really cool, and also like just finding a journal of someone who shouldn't exist at a tragedy. Sounds so cool. And then the next prompt is the 1940s, and for this one I have a book written in the 1940s, sort of. I'm gonna be rereading The Boxcar Children, not the whole series, obviously, but like at least the first one, maybe the first like 3 or something. And technically, the first Boxcar Children was written in like 1924 or something like that. Then it was like reissued and rebranded to the Boxcar Children that we all know and love in 1940. And then that's when they started writing all the books. So I'm going to say it counts. And then the next one is a book written or set in the 1800s, and I'm going to be reading Emma. Emma is one of those that I've watched and I love. Like, I love the adaptations of Emma. I love Clueless, all that stuff, but I've never actually read it. So, we're going to finally dive into that. And then for the prompt, what I'm reading with my partner, last month we wanted to read In a Deep Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, but we ended up going with this book that we saw on TikTok. And I think I may have a reading vlog or like a review or something about that book, because it's a trip. So that's what we read last month, or this month, I guess. And so this month we'll read In a Deep Dark Wood together. And then for the YA prompt, I'm going to be continuing the On the Wings of Ash and Dust series / book. So I'm on like the 3rd of the 6-book serial. It's a little confusing, but I don't know what the 3rd one's called, but I'm on the 3rd one. And then for a historical book, I'm reading Sold on a Monday. It's about these kids who are for sale on a Monday. And it's like I think it's dealing with the Great Depression and stuff like that. I may be wrong, but I just know that the book is inspired by a infamous photograph of these 2 children that are for sale because the parents just can't take care of them anymore, and they want them to be able to be taken care of. The next prompt is book club pick, and this one I'm stretching a little bit. I can't remember who, but I'm going to put it up on the screen. They created a final book support group to kind of help people finish series. And I'm not terrible at finishing series, but I'm also not the greatest at it. Like, sometimes it takes me years, sometimes it takes me months, it just depends. But it's not really a book club. But because they just announced it, and it's like the first month is in March, I figured I would pop that in as my book club pick. Also because like all the other book clubs that I could find that I'm interested in, like checking in on what they're reading, none of those books are available. Which is usually the case because a lot of them read like new releases that are coming out like in that month, and that's just not possible for me. So I'm going to be continuing the Bromance book club series and reading book number 4, I think. Isn't It Romantic? Then the next prompt is a retelling, and so the book I'm reading is A Tale of Beauty and Beast, which is obviously a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it's part of a series that is there's the Four Kingdoms series that I really enjoy, and then there's a second series that's called Beyond the Four Kingdoms that is in the same world, but it's in another part of the world, and this is the second book in that series. So actually, I'm reading a lot of series, but I'm also starting a few. Oh well. Oh well. But yeah, so that's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Not much more you need to know about that. And then the last prompt is a classic. This bingo card is telling me something. It wants me to read older books because we got the 1400s, we got the 1800s, and then we got a classic. So I picked a more like, I don't know how far back it has to be just considered a classic or just like a modern classic, but this book was written in the 1940s, so I could have put it for Boxcar Children, but no. I used the Boxcar Children to kind of give me something that's not classic with like that type of writing. So the book I have for this one is Native Son. This is one of those books that I've heard of and I've put it on my radar as like something I'm interested in reading, but like now I don't remember what it's about. I just know that it's a very like critically acclaimed book. That's my March bingo. All the books on here I am available to read, so technically I could get a clean sweep of the board if I wanted to. I don't think I will. Because even with the ones last month that I couldn't read, like the two that were there, I wouldn't have even gotten bingos if they were there. So, but I still could. And I'm really excited for this month's board. Not just because it's Buffy, but also because of the books. And yeah. But yeah, so that is my March TBR. He's going to sit right on top of all the books. He's ready to get into the reading. Or he wants me to stop reading. One of the two. But stopping reading is not going to happen. I think this is a good TBR. I'm excited. And I'm excited to be doing this again. And I hope that I can continue this. I don't expect that I'll read this many books every month. Because, oh my goodness. But it was nice to be able to mark a lot of them off my reading list. Please let me know what is on your TBR for the month of March, and also let me know how your February TBR went, if you got a lot of the books that you planned on reading read and stuff like that. We can discuss it all in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great morning or evening whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!